Well, hello and welcome to Openheartspiritual Center, Heartstream. Join me as we invoke and invite love and light into this service. Oh, sweet spirit within, divine around. During this sacred time, we invite, make room for, and connect with the truth that we are one with the one, that all that is divine, all that is holy, all that is sacred is present within us, and we bring it to this sacred and holy heart stream. May all that proceeds or follows after this point be illuminated, blessed, inspirational, motivational, and expanded, for our heart chakras are open, and we say yes, yes, yes to all that the divine has planned for this service, and that we are in agreement by showing up here. Thank you for this beautiful community. Thank you for this opportunity to meet across the ethers, the air, the phones, iPhones, Samsungs. Grateful for our spiritual director, John Gilmore, and for his vision for this place where we are blessed right now. Yes to all that Spirit has for us, coming in as and through us. And so it is. Blessings. Enjoy the rest of the service.
What comes from the heart reaches the heart. Good morning and welcome to our Heartstream Live for this Sunday, November the 7th, 2021. The first Sunday in the month of November. The year is fast moving to the end. And then we come into a new year. This month, we are focusing on the idea of gratitude. We know that Thanksgiving is a part of this month, and so often we focus on gratitude, and this is no different. We are saying that and teaching and focusing on that this month here at Open Heart. I want to thank you for all that you do. And speaking of gratitude, gratitude is important. Melody Beatty, one of my favorite quotations is where she talks about gratitude. She says, gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. Thank you, Open Heart, for all you do to make this Heartstream possible. Thank you for the ways in which you continue to support us and show your love and tune in each and every week. Know that this is different. This is a different way of being, a different way of delivering, and all of that, but you continue to be faithful in the way that you do. And so I'm so grateful and thankful for all of that. I greet you. I bless you. I see God in you. Our purpose statement. Our purpose is to create a spiritual community which recognizes that there is one presence and one power in the universe, God. Daily, we actively practice this spiritual truth. We open our heart space to each person to acknowledge one another as expressions of God. It is in each other that we see God.
Our daily affirmation for the month of November is gratitude as a bridge. With every reason I find to be grateful, I access my own inner strength and ignite a loving universe into action on my behalf.
Good morning, and thank you for having me for the affirmative reading. I'm going to do a little bit more from the book Lab Girl by Hope Jahren. And I like it so much because it takes simple things that we take for granted and points out how miraculous they are. Every plant can be separated into three components: leaf, stem, and root. Every stem functions the same way. As a bundle of bound straws, bales of microscopic conduits that carry soil water up out of the roots and sugar water down out of the leaves. Trees are a unique type of plant because their stems can be more than 100 yards long and made of this amazing substance that we call wood. Wood is strong, light, flexible, non-toxic, and weather-resistant. Thousands of years of human civilization have yet to produce a better multi-purpose building material. Inch for inch, a wooden beam is as strong as one made from cast iron, but 10 times more flexible and only 1/10 as heavy. Even at this stage of high-tech man-made objects, our preferred construction material for housing remains lumber hewn from trees. In the United States alone, the total length of the wooden planks used during the last 20 years was more than enough to build a footbridge from planet Earth to planet Mars. People slice up trees, nail the pieces together into boxy shapes, and then go inside them to sleep. A tree's wood is also its memoir. We can count the rings to learn the tree's age, for every season of growth requires a new sheath. There's a lot of additional information written into tree rings, but it's coded with a language that scientists don't speak fluently yet. An unusually thick ring could signify a good year with lots of growth, or it could just be the product of adolescence, a random spurt of growth hormones cued by an influx of unfamiliar pollen from a distant source. A ring that is thick on one side of the tree, but thin on the other, tells the story of a fallen branch. When a branch is lost, it upsets the balance of the tree, triggering cells within the trunk to reinforce the side that must now support the newly uneven burden of the crown. For trees, losing limbs is the rule, not the exception. The vast majority of branches that any tree produces are severed before they can become large, usually by external forces like wind, lightning, or just plain old gravity. Misfortunes that cannot be prevented must be endured, and trees possess a ready strategy. Within a year after the loss, the tree will cast a healthy new sheath fully over the broken base of what used to be the branch, and then layer upon it year after year until no scar is visible at the surface. In the city of Honolulu, just where Manoa Road crosses Oahu Avenue, there stands a gigantic monkey pod tree. The trunk of this tree is 50 feet tall, and its branches form a giant arch that spans clear across the busy intersection. Wild orchids grow in the branch tops. They sit in bunches shaped like pineapple tops, and their naked roots dangle down beneath them. Feral parrots hop from one orchid to another, flapping their lemon-lime wings and squawking abuse at the pedestrians below. The monkey pod, like many trees of the tropics, lives in eternal bloom. Great globs of silky, thread-like pink and yellow petals rain down on tourists who pause to take a picture of the tree as they make their way up the valley to visit the famous Manoa waterfalls. On coffee tables all over the world, you can find photo albums containing photographs of this monkey pod tree at Manoa Road and Oahu Avenue, of its magnificent 8,000 square foot canopy woven through with flowers. From the tourist perspective, this tree has achieved its perfect form. They do not see a tree that is less than it might have been, or one that was forced to grow a different way after its limbs were torn. If this monkey pod tree were to be cut down, we could count the knots and see the buried scars of the hundreds of branches it had lost during the last century of its life. But as of today, the tree stands, and while it's standing, we see only the branches that did grow and do not miss the ones that were lost. Every piece of wood in your house, from the windowsill to the furniture to the rafters, was once part of a living being, thriving in the open and pulsing with sap. If you look at these wooden objects across the grain, You might be able to trace out the boundaries of a couple of rings. The delicate shape of those lines tells you the story of a couple of years. If you know how to listen, each ring describes how the rain fell, and the wind blew, and the sun appeared every day at dawn.
Good morning. These are your announcements. This is a month in which we are focusing on gratitude. So I thought we'd do something special for this month. And that is, I'd like for you, those of you who feel so inclined, to record a video of 1 to 2 minutes of something that you are grateful for. And on Sunday, November the 21st, I will include that in our Heartstream. And it's a way for you to express gratitude for others to see. And I'd like for you to have your video to me by Wednesday, November the 17th. It's 1 to 2 minutes. If you're not clear on how to do it, contact me. I'll talk you through it. But I'd like for as many of you that would like to share in this to make your video, and I'll compile it in a way that can play it during the Heartstream, and other people can share it with us in our gratitude for this time of year, for this season, because despite all that has happened, all that we hear and the rhetoric and everything else, there is so much to be grateful and thankful for. And I hope that you will share it with your Open Heart family. Hey, you. Yes, you. Do you love to sing? Well, our Voices from the Heart musical group is looking for you. It's your opportunity to join us in the music that we provide each week through your voice, through your love of singing. If you're interested, please contact me so that we can make you a part of this wonderful group and the wonderful music that we provide each and every week.
Today is a day like no other day. Just think and you'll know that it's true. Days like today should be holidays. So I'm singing this message to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Just have a happy day.
At Open Heart, we believe in the power of affirmative prayer. We're setting the mental equivalent for healing, comfort, strength, and wholeness for all these persons you see on our list and everyone else. We're holding this space for you, knowing that whatever you need is already done in the mind of God. There is nothing missing for you, nothing that is undone, nothing that is lacking. That in the mind of God, it's already done for you. And it's by being open, available, and accepting that you know the truth, that you know all that is needed to know and experience all that you need to experience and feel and see come forth and be demonstrated in your life in this moment. We hold the space for you, and we know the truth for you in all places. Thank you, Joy, for today's affirmative reading, and I look forward to others of you submitting your affirmative reading to jgilmore@openheartspiritual.org. Our daily affirmative prayer call takes place each and every morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. Dial in as one of our prayer team members shares an inspirational reading and then prays for you, all in about 7 minutes. It's time for conscious giving. Divine love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am richly blessed, creating a greater and greater flow. 3 ways to give: our Cash App, hashtag OHSC901, online at OHSC901.com, or by texting the word give to 615-422-4292.
Here we go.
Alright, I'ma try to do this for you one more time. Yeah.
Baby, you don't understand why I gotta dance. There was something had me down, but it's over now. I'ma throw my hands up, wave them all in the air. All I wanna do is dance, dance, dance.
Ain't good enough, don't look good enough, don't sing good enough.
Maybe you should give it up.
But if I would've, then I never could have received all of the things that were planned for me. So I waited a little longer, grew a little stronger, and then I realized something was happening. So incredible, it's inexplicable. You ought to try it for yourself and see, because
Baby, you don't understand why I gotta dance. There was something had me down, but it's over now. I'ma throw my hands up, wave them all in the air. All I wanna do is dance, dance, dance.
sometimes I think about how it used to be and can't help but remembering how it was never easy for me. No, no. But the way the love works is so amazing. No need to beg or plead, just sing crazy. That's enough for me to lift my hands up. I'm sorry if you don't understand.
Baby, you don't understand why I gotta dance. There was something had me down, but it's over now. I'ma throw my hands up, wave them all in the air. All I wanna do is dance, dance, dance. Baby, you don't understand why I gotta dance. There was something had me down, but it's over now. I'ma throw my hands up, wave them all in the air. All I wanna do is dance, dance, dance. It's over now. 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 All I wanna do is dance, dance, dance. Baby, you don't understand why I gotta dance. There was something had me down, but it's over now. I'ma throw my hands up, wave them all in the air. All I wanna do is dance, dance, dance. Baby, you don't understand why I gotta dance. There was something had me down, but it's over now. I'ma throw my hands up, wave them all in the air. All I wanna do is dance, dance, dance. Baby, you don't understand why I gotta dance. There was something had me down, but it's over now. I'ma throw my hands up, wave them all in the air. All I wanna do is dance, dance, dance. Baby, you don't understand why I gotta dance. There was something had me down, but it's over now. I'ma throw my hands up, wave them all in the air. All I wanna do is dance, dance, dance. Baby, you don't understand why I gotta dance. There was something had me down, but it's over now. I'ma throw my hands up, wave them all in the air. All I wanna do is dance, dance, dance.
Good morning. I welcome you to the centering moment. Let us just allow the sound of this crystal bowl to focus us or refocus, recenter. Let's just take a moment to experience and express gratitude for all that has gone before, for this amazing community. And as we come now to this sacred pause before the message, let's just take a breath in and out. I am centered, I am focused, I am renewed, and I am ready to hear from Spirit. And so it is.
It was a number of years ago now that my father, who was then the senior bishop of the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church and the presiding bishop in the 8th District in Texas, had invited me to come back and to preach at one of his annual conferences. It was at that time I had already made the transition to the New Thought, Ancient Wisdom tradition and established Open Heart. And I knew that it was a big thing for him to invite me back. He was putting a great amount of trust in me. But my father's always been very supportive of me. And even now I know that he and my mother are watching this Heartstream. And always there has been that support and love. And so I wanted to make sure that I honored his trust. But I also wanted to be true to myself. And in addition, I also wanted to honor the people that I was back there to speak before, because I knew that my spiritual philosophy and my theology had changed and it wasn't necessarily the same as theirs. But I didn't want to come in a way that would be disrespectful of who they were, understanding who they were. So, and also, I didn't want them after the service to be waiting on me in the parking lot with torches and pitchforks. Now, I'm really not serious about that part, but I really was concerned about what I would say and how I would approach that preaching moment. And leading up to that time that I was to go to Texas, I happened to go and visit a church that was pastored by a friend of mine. And in that service, I experienced something that really is for, in the midst of what for pastors is so often the bane of our existence in terms of worship service: announcements. Yes, announcements. We're always trying to figure out how to deal with announcements, where to put the announcements, how long they should be, who should do the announcements, how they should be delivered, all of that, but announcements. And at this church, there were a lot of announcements, and sometimes you can't get around that. But what I did notice, and it really caused me to chuckle to myself, was that there were a number of announcements that at the end, they went something like this: thanking you in advance for your cooperation. Thanking you in advance for your understanding. Thanking you in advance for your support. Thanking you in advance for your coming out. And I really laugh how they all had that catchphrase, thanking you in advance. But as I thought about it more, it finally came to me. I remember reading in the accounts of the master teacher Jesus several occasions where the things that he performed that we call miracles, how before he did those things, that he gave thanks. Yes, before he fed the multitudes, he gave thanks. Before, as he stood there at the tomb of Lazarus, who had already been dead, and he told them to roll the stone back. And it tells us that in that moment, he gave thanks God for always hearing him. And I thought about several other cases where it told us that before anything even happened, before the outcome, before anything transpired, that the master teacher said thanks. He gave a word of thanks. And as I reflected upon that and I thought about that, I knew then that's what it was that I wanted to preach about. And I remember going there and preaching and having so many people compliment me on that message and how powerful that message felt for me in that moment. But the idea has stayed with me. The idea of being thankful in advance before anything happens, before the outcome, before the demonstration. And as I reflected on it more, I also thought about the fact of when we use the tool that we use, affirmative prayer or spiritual mind treatment, there's a stage or a step in that we call the Thanksgiving stage, and just how important that Thanksgiving stage is. Yes, we have the recognition stage where we talk about all of the attributes of God and the things of God that express itself that we wish to see in the world and that we know about God. And then we have the unification stage where we talk about our being unified and one with God and those things that God expresses that we express. We know that we have the realization stage where we begin affirming what it is that we wish to demonstrate, we wish to have as an outcome. We have the denial stage where we deny any power of appearances, any power of conditions, or anything else that would deter us from realizing the outcome that we wish to have. And then there's the Thanksgiving stage, that place where we offer already in advance a feeling of gratitude, a feeling of thanks for it already being done in the mind of God and it unfolding and happening for us and then release. But the Thanksgiving stage, being thankful in advance before the outcome, is an important aspect that I want to talk about this morning. Thanking in advance. And I think that it's important for us to understand that in this process, it's about doing the work. And I'm going to say this over and over again. It's about doing the work. And yes, that's what Jesus had already done the work. And in the process of spiritual mind treatment, as we build up to the Thanksgiving stage, we've already done the work. We've already affirmed. We've already held the vision in mind. We've already seen what it is that we wish to have happen. We've already expressed the outcome. We've already done that. We've done the work. Neville Goddard, one of my favorite spiritual teachers, calls it assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Now, I know oftentimes I will throw out phrases and ideas, and sometimes I wonder if people catch the meaning. So what exactly does assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled mean? Well, think about it like this for a moment. What if you are in your mind wishing for certain things to happen? Let's say you are looking for having a harmonious relationship. You're looking to have a new job. You're wishing to express better and perfect health. You're wishing to know prosperity and abundance. You're wishing to know success in the things that you do. All of the things that you might find yourself looking for to demonstrate and unfold in your life. Asking yourself, but how it will feel when the outcome happens, how it feels for you when those things demonstrate themselves in your life. What would it feel like? What would be the conversations that you would have with other people as these things have happened? What would it smell like? What, sitting in a new car, that new car smell, what would it sound like? The things that you could hear. What would it feel like? The way in which you would be physically in a place and in that moment. What kinds of things? What would you see? What would surround you? What would be a part in the process of you? That's the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Before it has happened, taking yourself mentally in a state of consciousness to that place where you begin understanding what it's like and assuming that and seeing that and feeling that even before it happens. What we call in this philosophy the mental equivalent. So you do the work. You immerse yourself in that feeling. You immerse yourself in those sounds. It becomes real to you even before it happens. You already feel it. You already taste it. You already see it. You already know it. You already hear all of the things that surround it in that moment. You do the work until you can feel it. Till you can have what Ernest Holmes calls the fire in your belly, till you can feel it in your bones. That is the work. That is what you do. It's not, and I want to say this, it's not a one-time thing. Let me say that again. It's not a one-time thing. So often we feel like that we can treat for 2 or 3 minutes and then go the rest of the day with negative thoughts and doubting the outcome. It's like planting a seed and then digging it up in a few minutes to see if it's working. It's about continuing to do the work until you get the feeling that it's done, the feeling that it's already done. And that's important, and I'm not one of those, I hear the rhetoric about storming the gates of heaven and all of that, but it's not about trying to get God to do anything. That's one of the things that's important and that's different about spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. We are not trying to get God to act or to do anything. God has already done all the things that God does. It's already done in the mind of God. It's already possible, but we are working to open our minds to the possibility that it is. We are opening our minds to knowing that it's already fulfilled, that it's already done in God's mind. So we are treating our own consciousness and not begging or pleading or trying to exhort God to do anything, but we are becoming open. So it's when we do the work, when we change our consciousness, when we change our awareness, when we move beyond conditions, when we get out of looking how things have been and knowing that principle is not bound by precedent. So what might have happened in the past, where we might have failed or come short before, that this is not the time, because I am standing in that space and place of knowing that it's done in the mind of God, that it's mine, and that this is the moment, this is the time, that when we do this and we come to this point in doing the work, that we see those things unfolding for us. And here's what happened. Once you do the work, once you envision and anchor it in affirmative prayer, once you do your meditation, once you do your affirmations, once you do all of the things that are part of this entire process, a feeling comes over you. Something begins to well up in you. Something begins to happen to let you know that it's done in the mind of God, to let you know that it has happened. Even before you see the outcome, even before it manifests for you, you just know, you just have that feeling. Gratitude wells up inside of you because you have made it welcome. You have opened the very depths of your being to all that is happening, to all that unfolds. And there it is. There it happens. Many of you know that my wife, Emma, is a businesswoman in addition to her creative side. And she has been running a massage therapy business since 2015. And her business has grown and things have gotten to the point where she's in the process of opening a space, a location in downtown Memphis. And just recently, she was set to go before the Downtown Memphis Commission for some funding for a grant for a part of the building process. And several weeks, days and weeks before she was supposed to go before the board to know whether or not her requests have been granted, I saw her doing the work. I know her, and I know when she's brooding over something or she's cogitating, as she says, about things. I heard her playing those affirmation tapes or affirmation video audio files. I saw her doing the meditation. I saw her writing things out. I saw her placing affirmations around all of the work that's a part of that process required to help us to open our awareness and to open our consciousness. And I held this space for her. We talked about what the outcome would be and how she would like to see things happen. We did one of those active kinds of things too, and we did the work. She did most of the work, but as her partner in believing, which was we are for one another, I did what I could do in that process. And I remember that morning when we got up. We get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and we go out and walk 4 or 5 miles every day. And I remember that particular morning she got up, and as we were getting ready to go out the door to go walking for that morning, she said to me, I've got the feeling of already done. I've got the feeling of already done. I said, yes, you do, because it is. It is already done. And she said, I know, but a feeling like I hadn't had before, but a feeling of already done. And I remember later that morning that it was a Zoom meeting, but as she sat there in front of her computer and I stood there close by her, and I could hear the members of the commission in their meeting. She was first on the agenda, and as her request came forward, I could see her there with a smile on her face. I could feel that sense of calm that was coming from her. And as they spoke about the request and they spoke about the project, and I could hear the accolades from the members of the commission about it being a wonderful project and a wonderful concept, and the approval that came forth from that, and we both rejoiced in the fact that it was done. It was already done. It had already been done, and simply their approval was just affirmation of all of the other things that made it happen. And what I'm saying is that when you do the work, when you put in the process and you hold the vision and you see it in your mind, when you feel it in your belly, when the fire in your bones is there, when you understand that it's done in the mind of God, there's a feeling of thanksgiving, there's a feeling of joy that wells up in you. So gratitude comes forth. You understand that in this moment just how powerful the universe is, and because you are the universe's expression, how powerful you are. You understand what it means. Like, you know that in this moment that what happens here, and in this moment a feeling comes over you, and you understand that all that you do, that in this moment God continues working through you, whatever it might be, whatever you are working on, whatever you wish to demonstrate, knowing that it is done, and then gratitude comes forth, a feeling of thanksgiving, knowing that in this moment you are thanking in advance because it's going to happen. And it does. And so it is.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. You are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day. Gotta let it go. Gotta let it all go. Are you listening? You got to let it all go. And this is what you have to say. Yes, I'm only here for God. No, 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 no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release. I let go, let the spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm Yes, I'm only here for God. I know.
Where I am, God is. Where I stand, God is standing strong. Where I breathe, God is breathing life in and out and through me. Ask me where I sing, God is. Where I dance, joy lives at my feet. Where I live, beauty's flowing free, in and out and through me. As me, for where I doubt, God is the faith in me. Where I cry, God is the comfort there. Where I seek, God is the answer. Here and now, forever and ever and ever. Where I speak, truth is. Where I work, love is my career. And where I play, God is playing boldly, in and out and through me. As me, oh, oh, do-do-do. Oh, hey, yeah. Where I am, where I stand, where I play, where I work and breathe and move and feel, where I sing, where I dance, my dance, my dance, wherever I go, where I pray and take and give and leave. God is, life is.